5 killer red flags that can get your Portuguese passport rejected or even delayed. Okay, so your grandfather was born in Goa and suddenly everyone's telling you you can get a Portuguese passport. It sounds simple, right? But then things go quiet. Or worse, you hit roadblocks, rejections, or even legal trouble. The truth is, if you don't know about these 5 red flags, your whole application could fall apart even before it begins. So let's walk you through the hidden issues that catch most people off guard and how you can stay one step ahead. Hey everyone, I'm Jason Machado, Director at TIC Global. And listen, I'm not just seeing this as an outsider or someone just reading off a checklist. I know these red flags because I've lived them. I've spent 4 years stuck in circles, trusting the wrong people, getting half answers, and losing money on things I thought were legit. In fact, every time I thought I was one step closer to that Portuguese passport, something would just fall apart, or some document, some mismatch, or some shady agent. That experience taught me one thing. This system has rules which most people don't know exist. And if you don't know what to do or what to look out for, it will cost you. That's why I want to walk you through these red flags. Not just so you can avoid my mistakes, but so that you can move forward in the right way with confidence. Red flag 1. Missing or incomplete historical documents. One of the most common and critical issues is the absence of original Portuguese documents, specifically the Nascimento. That's the official birth records from the archives. In fact, you'd be surprised how many descendants aren't even sure that these documents actually exist. And without it, your case can't even begin. Let me give you a real example. So we're currently helping a family based in the UK. The mother had started her nationality process back in the 1990s, but her children, they didn't even know what was done or if anything had been registered in Portugal. In fact, the son reached out to us and we had to investigate deeply. Turns out, his mother's marriage was already registered in Portugal. Now, that opened the door to start his own process. And here's the plot twist. His sister was already registered as a Portuguese national, but she had no clue about it. So here's the red flag. If you don't know your family's application history or whether any documents were submitted or accepted, you risk delays, duplication of efforts, or worse, creating legal complications across countries. Red flag 2. Name mismatches in documents. This one might sound small, but it's a passport killer, especially if your ancestor was born before 1961. The name that appears on the Portuguese document, the Nascimento, must match exactly across all your names on your modern Indian documents. That means consistency with your Aadhaar card, your Indian passport, your marriage certificate, and even death certificate. But in reality, what do we see? Names are shortened, spelled differently, or completely translated. For example, the original Portuguese name is João, and the translated version becomes John. Sebastião becomes Sebastian. Sometimes the second names completely disappear. These inconsistencies are a major roadblock. Yes, some modern documents can be corrected, but once the person has passed away, the death certificates are extremely difficult to update. So here's the red flag inside. If your ancestor's name is inconsistent across all your documents, your application can stall or even worse, get rejected. Always check before you submit anything. Red flag number 3. Unofficial residency certificates. This one comes up all the time, especially in the case of João and Daman. People are told to get residency certificate proving where their ancestors lived. But here's the trap. They go to local agents who gives them a letter from a church or a private office. Sounds official, right? No, but it's not. For Portugal to accept a residency certificate, it must come from an authorized body like your local municipality or a panchayat office or any other recognized civil authority. And that's not enough. It must also be apostilled for international use. Without this, Portugal won't even consider it to be a valid document. In fact, we've had cases where people submitted residency proofs from a community head or local agents, and they were instantly rejected. So here's the red flag. If your residency proof is not from an official source and is not apostilled, your entire case can collapse. So don't risk it. Red flag number 4. not knowing your family's past application history. Now, this ties back to red flag number 1, but it deserves its own spotlight because it's just not about missing documents, it's also about missing information. We've seen far too many cases where people apply for nationality without knowing that their parent or grandparent or sibling had already submitted something years ago. And what does that lead to? Duplicate applications, confusion between siblings, and unintended dual nationality problems. Take our UK client's case again. The sister had no idea she was already registered as a Portuguese national. The brother almost submitted a new application with outdated information. This could have led to rejection or even raised red flags with the Portuguese authorities. So here's the red flag insight. Always verify your family's past efforts. It takes time, but it can save your entire case. In fact, we often request for searches for our clients in Lisbon to confirm what's been done in the past. Red flag number 5, forged or manipulated documents. So let's be real, this is the most dangerous red flag of them all. Sometimes people are desperate and they want to speed things up. So they pay the agent to forge a document like a birth year or worse, fake a Portuguese registration. And while this might work locally, where you might get away with submitting this document in Goa or Daman, but when the document reaches Lisbon, that's game over. Portugal has a strict document verification process. If anything is flagged as forged, the application is immediately suspended. Legal action can be taken against you. You may be banned from ever applying again. And in some cases, even Indian legal authorities are informed. And here's the worst part. Your entire family's application history can be destroyed in seconds. In fact, we've seen a case where one forged document blocked an entire generation's access to Portuguese nationality. Here's a red flag insight. Never risk using fake documents. It's not just unethical, it's dangerous. The short-term gain is never worth the long-term damage. Applying for a Portuguese passport is like having a business class ticket on a flight. It opens doors, gives you freedom, and gets you places much faster. But here's the catch. If your paperwork isn't in order, you won't even make it past the boarding gate. At TIC Global, we make sure every document checks out clearly, legally, and with no guessworks. So if you're ready for takeoff, book a free consult using the link in the description below. Because your journey deserves a smooth landing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.